Dokkan has just announced the new Global Dokkan celebration, or whatever you want to call it. I'm calling it the global anniversary because that's what exactly it is. It's taking worldwide, changing the date so that we can celebrate the global anniversary as a whole. Part one. Okay, so before we get started, I apologize here. We have to lay down the rules here. Is it going to be 6 LRs or is it going to be 4 LRs? Is it going to explore both possibilities? Because if they're really making this to the level of anniversary, this is going to be 6 LRs. If they're still trying to keep it closer to worldwide, we're going to see 4 LRs for now. That being said, let's go ahead and get into my first prediction in this celebration, which is going to be starting off with a villain headliner for the Dokkan Fest. It's going to be a final form Frieza that goes into full power. And then his carnival partners are going to be a Kaioken times 20 Goku that can stand by and do the Spirit Bomb. And you'll stand by into Piccolo, kind of like how Majub is on the Super Saiyan 4 Goku card. And then you're going to go into Super Saiyan once you throw the Spirit Bomb and etc. whatever. And then Krillin gets blown up, or I don't know. They can do something with that. And then the other carnival is going to be a Future Trunks. Now, this is the carnival that you're going to be able to switch out. If this goes from a 6 LR format into a 4 LR format, then the Future Trunks clearly would not be included into this. But, my thing is, if this is going to be a full Frieza celebration, then we really need to see something that's going to include everything from Frieza's fights, from Final to Mecha to his Golden. Clearly, we do not have Black Frieza yet, or anything of that material yet, so it's going to be really hard to do something like that. Then we'll go into part 2, which is going to be so we'll go to the hero being the Dokkan Fest headliner, with the ROF Blues being the tag unit, starting with Goku swapping into Vegeta, having their own active skills. Vegeta's maybe like a motivational speech or some kind of buff that allows him to get some good stats. And then Goku's would be an active skill attack. Like the rewind into the Kamehameha, something like that. I can really see something like that working with the ROF Blues, and then just make it worth the tag back and forth. And then the carnivals for this one is going to be a kind of like a first form Frieza that goes in the Golden Frieza. I don't really want them to do a standalone Golden Frieza if they're going to have an EZA for the AGL Golden Frieza, and I don't want them to be final form because we're going to get a new LRDFE final form Frieza and this mock, of a celebration. So for me, I think a first form Frieza that can go immediately into Golden, like a swipe up, just like how they did it with the Broly, I think would work really well here. And then the other Carnival LR would be LR Mecha Frieza for the the pair of that Future Trunks in the first part. So it makes sense. Now, again, clearly, if it's a 4 LR format, then the Mecha Frieza goes away, and it's just the Golden Frieza. But I do still think we see Mecha Frieza, kind of like how they did with the Broly celebration, and they just make him a Prime Battle LR. It makes sense. Easy him on a spot. It would work great. Easy A is a celebration outside of Mecha Frieza. If it's a 4 LR setup, would be the INT ROF Blues, clearly, the AGL Golden Frieza, AGL Future Trunks. If it's a 6 LR format, even if it's not, we could still see him. We could see AGL Ginyu here. We could see Tekka Bardock here. We could see Angel, the Fizz Angel Golden Frieza here. We could see sub EZAs for Jacko, the Fizz Super Saiyan Blue Goku, and the Tech Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta. They're on the table as well. And then the only Super EZA I would see for this one is the Tech Golden Frieza. Now, again, they have pushed Super EZAs a ton more in big celebrations. Clearly, we saw for Anniversary, they chucked out like 7 of them. So I don't know if they're still going to do that. But, in this first one, I'm only mocking just one Super EZA here. I think it'd be a really good celebration. Second, let's go into the most other obvious choice, and that's a Daima celebration. A lot of people are going to be controversial about this. They don't want to see Daima. A lot of people are like, I'm not going to play the game until I see adult Super Saiyan 4 Goku in this game. So, it's really up. It's between the both. So, let's go to get started. Part 1, the DFE, is going to be a Super Saiyan 3 mini Goku that goes into Super Saiyan 4. And he's going to have a unit super with Do. If you guys watch the show, you guys know exactly what that will be. Then for the carnivals, you're going to have a tag Do and Ku unit, since clearly I don't think we're going to get a Do and Ku before we get to this global celebration, unless they're the very next banner. But I really think in a 6LR format it works. If it's just a 4LR format, maybe we don't see it. Then For the other Carnival, we could see a Mini Goku, Vegeta, Piccolo, Glorio, Supreme Kai. That hodgepodge units that kind of show up as soon as Goma shows up and they start all fighting together. That's kind of the LR I'm going for, similar to a style that the Universe 7 LRs are. That could be like that, but instead of like damage reduction or stats off of Universe 7 allies, it could be off of Dragon Ball Seekers or Time Travelers or something of that sort, especially because all these units are on Time Travelers. At least the majority of these are. Part 2 would be a DFE Goma into Giant Goma when he applies the third eye, and then the Carnivals would be Adult Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta and Adult SSJ4 Goku. Super simple there, nothing really too crazy about those two. You could try to make the Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta an exchange unit. In this format, you're going to have to turn out another LR, and I just don't know how likely that is. Easy A's are a little more difficult because you don't have Diamond units, so you're going to have to go off a theme. You're going to have to go off of, I think, a Battle of Fate theme makes sense here. And you can go LR Ultimate Gohan, LR Orange Piccolo, LR Fusion Zamasu, LR Vegeta and Trunks, LR Tech Super 17, and an Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. All amazing Easy A's, very anticipated, would work really well here. Super Easy A's, I have a few more than one. I have 4 right here. Again, if they go after Anniversary, you have a lot to go with here. So you could do a Fizz Vegeta Blue, you could do a AGL Rose, you can do Tech Fusion Zamasu, you could do Int Sorta Hope Trunks. I think those are going to be your best options here. And again, all those 4 are very anticipated. A lot of them, of course, the most people are anticipating the VB and the Rose, but I mean, that Fusion Zamasu could be a slam dunk pick here too. All right, to our third theme, a super themed celebration. This one's kind of unlikely in my opinion. I just don't know if they're going to really dabble into this stuff, especially because next year there's a lot more stuff that could probably cater to this. Like, again, for example, my part 1's Battle of Gods, and I just feel like they're not going to be able to do much here. I mean, they can do it, it's fine, but again, they just made the AGL sidebanner Beerus, took a lot of Beerus's animations away. God Goku's Easy A is not until next year. Vegito Blue, I don't think we see this soon. I think, in fact, we see Vegito and Blue and Gochito Blue for the 12th anniversary, but I'll get there eventually whenever we get down that line. But, I think we see an LR DFE Beerus for the part 1, and then the Carnivals would be a God Goku, maybe a Super Saiyan 3 Goku into God Goku, or just a God Goku, whatever they want to do there. And then a My Bulma Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta. I think those are going to be some of your best options there. Part 2 is going to be very similar to the part 2 of the full Frieza celebration, but instead of NECA Frieza, it would be a Tag Rose and Zamasu unit. So, a Tag ROF Blues, a Golden Frieza, but this one doesn't have to be a first form Frieza. You can do a final form Frieza here, and then you can do a Tag Rose and Zamasu unit here too. Easy A's would be the ROF Blues, the AGL Golden Frieza, Fusion Zamasu, Vegeta and Trunks, Ultimate Gohan and Orange Piccolo. Super Easy A's are going to be the same as Daima with the Vegeta Blue, Rose, Fusion Zamasu, and Sword of Hope Trunks. And then you get into GT. This one is also very interesting because there is a ton of GT content coming out here, either soon or the 11th anniversary. There's a lot of GT stuff lined up, and especially with the AGL Super Saiyan 4 Goku, it does make sense they kind of try to dabble into this just a tad. We could see an LR DFE Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta for that first unit to kind of headline a little bit. And it wouldn't be super hype, I'm not going to lie, if you're going to do a Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta and then Carnivals or Baby and Majub. But then your part 2 is kind of what carries your celebration, right? With your LR Sin into Omega, your Carnival Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, and then your tags 17 and 17 and Super 17. It's just really hard because GT doesn't have a lot of slam dunk people. They've already used the Super Saiyan 4 Goku from the Baby fight. He would fit perfectly as a headliner here with Baby, but clearly they already used him, so Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta would kind of be your next pick, and then you would save Omega and Gogeta for part 2 to kind of get that full theme all the way through. So, I mean, it is what it is, but, it would be a decent celebration. GT does need the help, especially GT bosses. GT bosses desperately needs that help, and so I think this would be a really good celebration to kind of revive that category. Easy A's would be Int Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, Tech Super 17, Tech Pan, Vegeta and Trunks and Fusion Zamasu. Again, the reason why these two keep showing up is because last year we got Tech Gogeta and we got Fizz Janemba, and they were the Tanabata units. the year before, or they were easy A's for Tanabata. The next Tanabata units are Vegeta and Trunks and Fusion Zamasu. So for me, it seems evident that these two could easy A here, or maybe they'll save them for later. I don't know, because of the schedule, how they changed the schedule. Not 100% certain here, but that's just what I'm going to go with. And then Tech 17 and 18, Worldwide Chaos, kind of fits a little bit of the theme here. You could probably do that as like a countdown easy A, like how they did Turles last year for the Broly celebration. Super easy A's, this is probably my biggest stretch of super easy A's of any of the celebrations unlocked so far. Super Saiyan 4 Goku STR, AGL Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, STR Omega, AGL Super 17. Biggest stretch so far. I just don't know if we see second year units super easy A just yet. I really do feel like they might hold some of these for the 11th anniversary, which is also going to be very GT heavy in my opinion. So it just makes sense to hold some of these for that time, but again, I don't know. Finally, we get to the last of my selections here, my last choice, which is a hodgepodge of units, and the reason why I say that is because it's exactly how they did Anniversary this year. The way I have it mocked here is more like a GT/Daima celebration, but they also can do literally anything. They could just do counterparts to the part 1. Like, they could, instead of Super Gogeta, they could do Gogeta Blue, and instead of Super Vegeta, they can do Vegeta Blue, and then, like, or they could do a, you know, like a Kid Buu and a Janemba for literal counterparts to those units. And then you also could see stuff like a God Topo, or, you know, I'm just getting crazy here, but it's really hard to say, because if it is a very similar theme to how Anniversary was, it's going to be really hard to predict this, because, you know, outside of your headliners, which could be, you know, pretty easy to predict, outside of that, it's kind of like, Rivals, and I forgot the other one. I'm trying to remember that. It was the Gohan category, where they did Gohan, and then for the part 1, they did the Super Saiyan 3 GT Goku. You know, I can't really remember it now. Oh, Family. That's right, Family. So it's just gonna be really hard to do something like that, to like kind of be able to tie that in without knowing the theme, because you're just not gonna be able to predict it. But here I got Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta as the main headliner, part 1 DFE, the part 1 Carnivals are gonna be a mini Super Saiyan 4 Goku, and then ascend into Omega Shenron. Part 2 would be the adult Daima Super Saiyan 4 Goku, with the Carnivals being a Super Saiyan 3 adult Vegeta, and then a Goma. So really mostly Daima, but then you have Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, and you got the Omega to try to kind of get a little more of a balance here. Easy A's, Vegeta, Trunks, Fusion Zamasu, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, Super 17, Ulton, and Orange Piccolo, Super Easy A's, VB, Rose, Fusion Zamasu, and Sword of Hope Trunks. So I think that really rounds out what you can be looking for here. I mean, there's a chance that none of this is correct at all. It's really hard to predict this. It really is. The Easy A's don't mean anything right now. Like, yes, there is a lot of themed Easy A's coming up, but they really could just pick and pick and pick and pick from all of those. And like if they don't use ROF here, I really do think ROF is going to be the quote-unquote Tanabata celebration. I say quote-unquote because it's not Tanabata anymore. It's whatever the celebration is going to be in September, but it's going to be Tanabata level. I think we could see a Resurrection F there if they don't use it here, but it's just really hard to pick out and figure out exactly what I do here. But I want to hear what you guys think about this celebration and what you are expecting to see. Let me know in the comments below, and what Easy A's do you want to see out of this celebration, and what headliners you are looking for the most. And I also want to let you guys know all my content is down below. You can click the playlist. You guys can explore more Dokkan Battle content for you guys to enjoy. But that's all for now, guys. I'll see y'all next time.